smile through the pain. Hello, and welcome to Arcana Drive. My name is Arcana, but I won't be a driver this evening because I don't have my license. If you watched my last Zomboid video, the one yesterday, you're about to go, huh? This is because I'm about to deliver unto you the way I think playing and learning Project Zomboid is best, which uses the information I presented to you last time in a way that seems in opposition to everything I said, but makes sense in the end. If you haven't seen it, please watch it. But you don't have to. Also, disclaimer, the specifics of this information apply to Build 41, so some specifics will likely become out of date as time goes on. However, the general theme and main advice of this video will be consistent for a long while, so just keep that in mind. So, how does one learn to play Zomboid? The answer is a lot of fucking around and finding out. A brutal amount. The game is by no means engineered for you to start the game and play on your first run forever. You are going to die. A lot. First step. Choose your settings. Generally speaking, the advice is to, say it with me kids, fuck around and find out. You can read about all the settings and what they do if you want, or crank things up and down to see how you fare. Cranking most things that may go disastrously, but it's hell of a way to learn a setting.
Oh my fucking god. Oh my god. Delta, no.
I used to play on Builder, then Survivor. Now I play on a modified Survivor that I enjoy. Second step. You have to pick where to spawn. There are 4 options. Muldrog, Riverside, Rosewood, and West Point. Generally, Riverside has less zombies, but less loot too. That about scales, with Rosewood having more zombies and more loot than Muldrog than West Point. Essentially, the better the loot, the more the zombies. Pick your start wherever. For now, you are going to die lots anyway. Try to explore each of the areas and find out what you enjoy most. For example, I personally always start in Riverside because I figured out the lay of the land. As such, I don't need to rely on a map to figure out where I am, give or take. But you could have this relationship with anywhere else on the map. I'm not going to advise you on where to start. I'm going to advise you to try them all out and see which one you learn and cope with the most. Third step. Picking a job for your character. All of the jobs have certain bonus skills and give bonus skill points or skill point deductions based on how much you get from the job. People have opinions on the best and worst jobs, but it actually just depends on your playstyle. Again, this game is about fucking around and finding out, so you'll need to fuck around with your jobs and find out which one you want. I went from nurse to fire officer to veteran to burglar as my mainstays, but I've been a variety of jobs in between. This also changes depending on if you are on multiplayer or not. If you're playing multiplayer with friends, you'll likely eventually end up with a role, so your job might change from single to multiplayer. At this point, considering you're new, you won't need to settle on something. Fourth step. In regard to skills, the same logic goes. Various people rank the skills from best to worst, but that will depend on their playstyle. Generally, look at what sounds good and gets you the most points. Later down the line, you'll want to min-max this stuff, but I advise you, for this guide, not to worry about it. Pick what you think sounds cool or interesting or fun. The game's learning curve does not discriminate. I reiterate, you will die a lot. Fifth step. Character creation. Make who you want, but I will give you a couple tips. Different jobs unlock different gear, like gloves, but you can also find these in the game very easily too. Just make sure you check your options. The other tip is to layer up. Wear a shirt and an undershirt. You can rip one of these up in order to get ripped sheets to tend to wounds as soon as you start the game. Now that you're in the game, press C to crouch. You don't have to do this all the time, but just trust me. This makes you less noticeable to zombies, which is something you want for the first little while at least. Before stepping out, for the love of God, try to find something to use as a weapon. Some items can be used as weapons without having the classification of being a weapon. The rule is that if you can equip it, you can lightly swing it at something, and by equip it I mean visibly see it in your hand. Your house will have some items in the kitchen such as pans or knives, or your bathroom might have a wrench or more likely a toilet plunger. If you are very lucky, you spawn somewhere with better options, having a metal pipe or some tools. Either way, just grab what you can. You'll feel inclined to take on the first infected you see, and in the name of understanding the range of your weapons, this is actually a fine idea, but be careful. The noise made from fighting can snowball a horde right behind you surprisingly quickly if you're unlucky. It is for the best to remain crouched in the early stages and avoid drawing attention. Zombie populations are generally lower within the radius of where you spawned, so you're advised to loot quite locally. Get a lay on controls and the weights of items and things. How many tins of sardines you can carry at a time is a bit of a learning curve, so you'll need to figure it out by doing. Once you're happy with hauling a few items to and from where you set up, when you first start you'll normally elect to just chill at home for a while. My advice splits into two paths. Choose whichever you think will help you most. You'll need to do both of these things, so you're only deciding on which to do first. Path 1. Get a lay of the land. If you haven't chosen your place to spawn, this is useful to do a bit of. You want to adventure around your spawning location and get used to a few key places, remembering where you can pick up what, and getting a sense of direction. My tip here would be to choose a different job when you die, because different jobs often have different places they can spawn within the place you've chosen. For example, a fire officer is more likely to spawn at a fire station, given there is one, than a burglar. As such, you can get a real connect the dots idea of your chosen spawn location. If you're trying to learn the map, don't worry too much about living too long. Though, if you can get a hold of a map in a vehicle, this will speed the process up. While you're at it, you'll also learn which areas have more zombies, as well as discover neat hiding places. Path 2. Remember how I said not to fight zombies? Well, for this part, you want to ignore that. Assuming you have some kind of weapon, you're going to get yourself into fights. Start off with 1 zombie, then 2, then 3. Keep upping the amount until you can fend them off, and then keep going. Eventually, you will learn when your given build gets tired, when you need to run off, and when you should run away. You'll eventually figure out your timing, your tactics, and what you can get away with. Some would advise you to turn on the aim outline, which can be done in your settings. Navigate to your caster settings and enable aim outline to be any weapon, not just guns. This might help you get a better sense of your weapon, but I found it distracting. To each their own. In all honesty, it is probably very advisable to learn the map for every area you can possibly spawn in. This is to say, learn how to survive in Muldrog by spawning there, learn how to survive in Rosewood by spawning there, etc. But this might take you a while. I haven't done it myself, I just journey out to them one by one when I play, but I do think it would make your life a touch easier if you did. Something, do as I say, not as I do. You may be wondering why half the advice I've given you is to get into big fights, when I also said that is a bad idea. Simply put, I think it's important for your long-term survival to be able to learn what you can and can't handle. Of course, you do know how to survive long-term. You need to build skills like fishing and carpentry, but those can be robbed with you within an instant if you get caught in a fight you're not sure what to do in. If you know you can take 5 zombies, then you won't be taking as big a risk by handling them. And if you know you cannot take 10 zombies, you aren't going to waste time and energy trying to see if you can. You'll have the smarts to run away and reroute. While in general, some of this is common sense, I personally find it useful to get it down to a science so you can make informed decisions. With those two paths traversed, I would say to set up a whole new playthrough, if you haven't already. From there, you're going to combine the info set of fights you can take and the lay of the land, and try to survive. You'll quickly pick up which skills you need to develop, and I'd advise you look in places with loads of books to read to help you pick up skills more. Outside of that, good luck surviving? There is a lot to learn in this game, and I think it does need to be learned the hard way, I'm afraid. This video wasn't intended to teach you how to survive forever, but it was to give you some helpful pointers to get you started. Believe me, the world of Nox Country is large and vast. There's no amount of talking I can do to help you survive on your first try. All I can say is be prepared to die, and be prepared to make mistakes. The only thing you can really do wrong as a player is refuse to learn and analyze your mistakes. And one more time, you will die! A lot! This game is as unforgiving as it is rewarding. Its true challenge comes from understanding all the many ways your own survival story can go, and the most fun aspect of that is that you as a player get to decide what it will look like. So go out there and get to bashing. Just remember to pack some water for the road. And that's the video! That's it! That's part 2, that's it! That's all I have to say on Zomboid. It's a very fun game, you should play it. I'm gonna go now. Subscribe and like if you want, but you don't gotta. But pick up Project Zomboid if you want, it's fun. I stream it sometimes, but I'm pretty bad at it. But it's still fun, you know? It's the kind of game where being bad at it, you're like, fuck, I'm such an idiot, this is all my fault, I'm so stupid! But it's kind of low-key, high-key, entirely your fault, so... who should we get mad at? Anyway, bye-bye!